Well, good afternoon again. When Kai called me last year, was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago, to do a gig, and of course the pandemic and everything that has ensued over these last 24 months. But when we were getting ready to do the show, Kai said, "Now, what are you going to play? Like, what are we going? How do we bill it? Where do we bill it?" And of course, I never know what I'm going to play. But I said, "Songs from the Great American Songbook." And I know Eric also knows about that because he's a fabulous pianist here. And I heard him play a few moments ago, and it's just mind-boggling what his hands can do. So I'm a little embarrassed now. You see, he's filled me with insecurity. I can't stand. It's like Jimi Hendrix being in the audience, and all of a sudden, I gotta play in front of Jimi Hendrix. So when you get to hear Eric play, you're gonna love it. Eric Clark, his last name, Eric Clark. So when I was thinking about songs of the Great American Songbook, I said, let's go back a ways. Let's find the first composer, pop composer in America, was a man who signed the Declaration of Independence. He was a designer of the flag. Betsy Ross gets all the credit, but a man named Francis Hopkinson also designed a flag. It was initially for the Navy, and then they liked it so much, it must have been in the currents of the fashion and the thought of that 1700s. It ended up being a flag very similar to what he designed. And it's on display, in fact. The Hopkinson flag is at the museum at Putnam Park. If you ever go down to Putnam Park when the days that the museum is open, you'll get to see it. But not only was he was a congressman, and he was a judge, and he was an author, but he was a composer. And I've read that he would be considered the first pop composer in America as we know it. And let me see if I have any juice on the guitar. Oh yes, there it is. All right. So there were elaborate toasting ceremonies during the Revolutionary War period. And this is a song that Francis Hopkinson wrote for General George Washington. Now, he wrote a ton of stuff. And you can go online and you can find it. And he's the first popular composer. "'Tis Washington's health, fill a bumper around, for he is our glory and pride. Our arms shall in battle with conquest be crowned, while virtue and he's on our side. While virtue and he's on our side. 'Tis Washington's health, loud cannon should roar, and trumpets the truth should proclaim. There cannot be found, search all the world over, his equal in virtue and fame. His equal in virtue and fame. 'Tis Washington's health, loud cannon should roar, and trumpets no wait. 'Tis Washington's health, our hero to bless, may heaven look graciously down. Our arms shall in battle with conquest be blessed, while virtue and he's on our side. Whilst virtue and he's on our side. 'Tis Washington's health. That's Francis Hopkinson. That was probably one of the first pop songs in America because these toasting ceremonies were very elaborate. And I spent 25 years performing up in Sturbridge Village at the Public House. Not quite at the Village, but the Public House is affiliated with the Village. So for 25 years, I had a strolling minstrel act with Jimmy Canavan. Jim Canavan, his mother June Canavan, was very active in these parts. You may know her and remember her. So we spent a lot of time walking through the Public House singing that song, "'Tis Washington's Health." But I did a little a show down at the Putnam Park for school groups a few years ago. It was a week, and I told the kids, if you remember one thing, remember the name Francis Hopkinson, because somewhere along the line in your life, there's going to be a quiz show or something, and Francis Hopkinson's name is going to come up, and you're going to say, "Oh, I remember that name at the Putnam Park Museum." So that takes us. That song has to be around 1770 that was written. So now, as we proceed in the American Songbook, I'm going to get up and to say, let's see, I've got 1836. 1836 is big because Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie die at the Alamo, Then you've got the Battle of San Jacinto about 3 weeks later in 1836. And there's an interesting song and story, Yellow Rose of Texas. And the Yellow Rose, it's got to be all legend, but it's the best legend in the world. The Yellow Rose of Texas, a woman named Emily West. She's a housekeeper for a man named James Morgan. So as an indentured servant to James Morgan, she ends up in the Texas Mexican territories there, and she is captured. When was she captured? She was been captured somewhere between the Alamo and the Battle of San Jacinto. There were, you could look this up. It's all there. But she's listed there as a person. And interestingly, she came from either North Haven or New Haven, Connecticut. She's a Connecticut girl, and she was biracial. So the Yellow Rose of Texas was because she was a beautiful biracial woman, and Santa Anna apparently had this a desire for beautiful girls, and she was that, and that's why she ended up with him. And I don't know how much of this is true or how much of this is false, but she's attributed to keeping him busy during the Battle of San Jacinto, that she was in his tent with him when he should have been watching the soldiers and all that. You can look this up, it's all on the computer. But the song, it's the sweetest little rosebud this soldier ever knew. Her eyes are sweet as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You can talk about your Clementine, sing about Rosalie, but the Yellow Rose of Texas is the only girl for me. I'm going out to find her where the stars are shining bright. We'll walk along the river on a quiet summer night. I'll play that guitar gaily, I swear we'll never part. When I find my Emily, I'll never break your heart. She's the sweetest little rosebud this Texan ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You can talk about your Clementine or sing the Rosalie, but the Yellow Rose of Texas is the only girl for me. She's the sweetest little rosebud this soldier ever knew. No other sailor knows her, nobody quite like you. You can talk about your Clementine or sing about Rosalie, but the Yellow Rose of Texas beats the bells from Tennessee. The Yellow Rose of Texas, what a song, what a story, what a legend. Emily West Morgan, the girl from Connecticut, ends up being the Yellow Rose of Texas. Hard to believe. That's a good one. But I'm going to jump because 1836, the fact that Davy Crockett died at the Alamo with Jim Bowie, and the fact that in the 1950s Walt Disney started a Davy Crockett a craze that was only met by Star Wars in the 70s. That's how long it took for anything to approach. And you remember, I mean, people, we were buying the Davy Crockett hats, Davy Crockett pajamas, Davy Crockett bed sheets, lunch boxes. Everything was Davy Crockett. It went berserk. And I had Davy Crockett things, and I must have been about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old at that point. And so I have to sing, born on a mountaintop in Tennessee, the greatest thing in the land of the free, raised in the woods and he knew every tree, killed him a bear when he was only 3. Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. Davy Crockett, the man that don't know fear. He went off to Washington to serve a spell, fixing up the government and laws as well. He did pretty good, as we hear tell, fixed up the crack in the Liberty Bell. Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. Davy Crockett, the man that don't know fear. Now apparently in real life, he was quite a celebrity in the 1800s. Everybody knew him, and when he did become a congressman, and he served for a 1-year term in Congress, and when he was voted out the next year, what he said to his constituents is, "I will go to Texas and you may go to hell." Isn't that funny? That's what they said. That's what he said. What a way. Then he ends up getting killed in Texas. So we went off to Washington. Went off to Washington to serve a spell, fixing up the government, the laws as well. Did pretty good as we hear tell. Fix up the crack in the Liberty Bell. Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier. Davy Crockett, the man that don't know fear. When he came home, the work would be done. The Western March had just begun. He got his canoe, got his gun, and he set out singing to follow the sun. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. Davy Crockett, he was headed out west again. What a song! And apparently, when Walt Disney put that together in those early 50s, that was the first series I had read, that the Davy Crockett must have been done in 2 or 3 installments, but that was major league. It ricocheted, it changed America, and the young baby boomers all had their merchandising. There was nothing like the Davy Crockett merchandising. So, yes, Fess Parker played Davy Crockett. Yeah. Yeah, and didn't he also play Daniel Boone? I think he did. I think Fess Parker had because I remember this. What a boon, what a doer, what a dream come truer was he. Fess Parker did. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man. What a boon, what a doer, what a dream come truer was he. That's all I remember of that TV show. But those themes get in your brain when you're little, and you carry them forever. Yeah. So that takes us. That was 1836. That song, the Yellow Rose of Texas, and then I jumped up to the Davy Crockett song because you can't sing about the Alamo or San Jacinto without mentioning Davy Crockett in yes, that's it. In Jim Bowie. So. Now I'm going to jump up to, let's see, if 1836, we're going to go up to probably, when you look at the Great American Songbook, this song sold 700,000 copies. It took 14 printing presses operating 24 hours a day to produce the sheet music for guys like Eric Clark to play. And he played him on a harpsichord, I would imagine. Right, Eric? You'd be on the harpsichord in 1860, you'd be playing the harpsichord, right? Clavichord, were they? Something like that?
Early piano.
They had some early pianos?
Right.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine how many pianos there had to be, because if people are buying sheet music, what are they playing? Violin or piano? Piano, right? I mean, you would figure that the piano was the center of music in households. Yeah, it had to be. And it gets, yes. So this song this is 1862. George Frederick Root is the guy that does this, and we still know this song till today. This is probably one of the most popular songs in the world, in American history. You gotta get a better key. And we'll rally round the flag, boys. We'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll rally from the hills and we'll rally from the plains, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars. And we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll rally from the hills for the men that live no more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll fill their vacant ranks with 1 million free men more, shouting the battle cry of freedom. The Union forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah! Down with the traitors and up with the stars. And we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. So George Frederick Root recognized this song, this melody, so powerful, so contagious, that not only did the North want it, but the Confederacy wanted it. So he ends up penning 2 sets of words so he could make money on both sides of the war. It was very controversial and scandalous, but the chorus, if you were in the South, it went, how'd it go? Dixie forever, hurrah, boys, hurrah, down with the eagle and up with the stars. And we'll rally round the Bonnie flag, we'll rally, do or die, shouting the battle cry of freedom. So that's the other side of the story of George Frederick Root. And it must have been 1864. This was used as Lincoln and Johnson's campaign song. They used this melody, changed the words, and yes, so he really knew how to sell a melody. Imagine, Eric, if we could sell a melody like that everywhere in the world. And we'll rally round the flag, boys, we'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We'll rally from the hills and we'll rally from the plains, shouting the battle cry of freedom. There it is, the battle cry of freedom, 1862, from the Great American Songbook. Let's see what happens after that. I want to try to keep in some chronological order. 1860. Oh, 1898. You have Teddy Roosevelt. He's not president, he's the head of the Navy, Secretary of the Navy. And you've got the Spanish-American War. And there was a song during that time that was so, talk about infectious and contagious. This song went everywhere. You couldn't go any place without hearing this song. And there was a story in Cuba about a Spanish prisoner who heard this song played so much around the encampments with the Rough Riders that he thought this was the national anthem. He thought this was America's national. It had to be the national anthem because all they did was play it. Come on and get you ready, get your good gown. There's gonna be a party, better gather around, where you know everybody and they all know you, and you got a rabbit foot to keep away the hoodoo. When you hear the preaching to begin, bend down low and wipe away your sin, and when that preaching is through, in the chorus you'll join in. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be girls for everybody in this good town. There's Miss Consola Davis and Gondola Brown. There's Joanna Beasley, she's the girl that's dressed in red. I hugged her and I kissed her, and then she said, what'd she say? Please, oh, do not let me fall. You're my man, and I love you best of all. If you will be my man, then I'll have no man at all. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. When you hear the preaching to begin, bend down low and wipe away your sin. And when that preaching is through, in the chorus you join in. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight. 1898. Oh, goodness. Hot time in the old town tonight. Well, I messed up my chronological order. A song even bigger than anything that we've talked about was written in 1892 by a man named Charles K. Harris. And I just read that prior to 1920, ballads had 3 main topics of the ballad prior to 1920 were children, separation, and death. Was that funny? What a way to put that together. So this song is has a lot of separation and death in it. This song was written, like I said, 1892. It sold 2 million copies at that time. That's Eric the piano, right? 1892, people are buying this sheet music to play on the piano. Yeah. Show you how many pianos were around the country during the Tin Pan Alley time, right? That would be the beginning of commercial American music. And the name of the song is After the Ball. And I can't believe this song is such a powerful song. After the ball is over, after the break of morn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many's the hope that has vanished after the ball. Now the verse of the song is about a little girl that gets on her uncle's knee, and she asked him, how come you live alone? Why are you single? Why don't you have a family? Why don't you have a house like everybody else? And he explains to her that at the ball, he saw the girl that he was there with, his girlfriend, kissing another man. And well, she said to him, I'm thirsty, would you get me a drink? So he goes off and gets her a drink, and as he's walking back, he sees her kissing another man, and so he leaves, never to speak to the woman again. And as the years go by, the woman dies, and somehow he finds out that the man that she was kissing was her brother. And so he lives this miserable life because he sees his girlfriend kissing her brother and never talked about it, whatever. Stubbornness of a male. So that's what the song is about. After the ball is over, after the break of morn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is breaking. If you could read them all, many's the hope that has vanished after the ball. 2 million copies! Imagine selling that. And that era, and then like the Wikipedia said, over 5 million copies have been sold since that 1892. That's a big hit. That must have been played like crazy. And I also read that when you bought sheet music, you could return it. I don't know if it's, I read that you could bring the music back if you didn't like the song. What pressure on a composer, you know? I thought I had a big sale and they didn't like my song. They brought it back. Okay, so now we're at the turn of the century. Let's see, we started at 1770, the Great American Songbook. We hit the 1830, we hit 1860, we had 1892, we had 1898. And the one song that made it into what I consider, I mean, this is, talk about pop, kids know this song, was from 1899. It just stayed in the 1800s. Coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. Yeah, we'll all go out to see her when she comes. We'll all go out to see her when she comes. Well, we'll all go out to see her. I cannot wait to meet her. Yeah, we'll go out to see her when she comes. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6 white horses. Driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. We'll be eating, cooking. We'll be cooking chicken and dumplings when she comes. We'll be cooking dumplings when she comes. We'll be cooking something, cooking chicken and dumplings when she comes. Gotta kill the old red rooster when she comes. We gotta kill the old red rooster when she comes. We gotta kill the old red rooster, just like we used to. Gotta kill the old red rooster when she comes. She'll be wearing red pajamas when she comes. She'll be wearing red pajamas when she comes. She'll be wearing red pajamas and wearing red pajamas. She'll be wearing red pajamas when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain. Coming round the mountain when she comes. 1899. You're almost at 1900 in the Great American Songbook. Oh, let's see. Well, there's two big songs. One was a George M. Cohan song called Over There. He received a Congressional Medal of Honor for that song because it did so much for the morale of America during World War I. And of course, he has a ton of songs, but this one, nothing like this one. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hoist that flag and let it fly, like true heroes do or die. Johnny, get the day right away, don't delay. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Hear your sweetheart calling you, and to the red and white and blue. Over there, over there. Send the word over there. Because the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. Drums, rum-tumming everywhere. So prepare, beware. Send the word over there. That will be over, we're coming over. And we won't come back till it's over, over there. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Johnny, show the hun you're a son of a gun. Raise that flag, let it fly, like true heroes do or die. Johnny, do your bit, show your grit, get your kit. Soldiers from the ranks of the towns to the day. Hear your sweetheart calling you, and to that red and white and blue. Over there, over there. Send the word over there. Because the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming. Drums, rum-tumming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to me. That will be over, we're coming over. And we won't come back till it's over, over there. George M. Cohan. What a song that was. And then that opened the floodgate, because in 1918, right after the war, right at the tail end, a song comes along that becomes it sweeps the country, and they say this song was the introductory song to the American jazz age. And it goes like this. Come on in here, come on in here, Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here. It's the best band in the land. Well, if you want to hear a bugle like you never heard before, they get you so excited that you're gonna start the war. It is the bestest band that I heard. Come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. To the man, that's the leader of the band. Well, if you want to hear that Swanee River play, it's ragtime. Come on in here, come on in here. It's Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here. It's Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in here, come on in here. Well, it's the best band like you never heard before. It gets you so excited that you're gonna start a war. It is the bestest band that ain't. Come on along, I gotta take you by the hand. Up to the man, up to the man. He's the leader of the band. And if you want to hear that Swanee River play, play it in ragtime. Come on in, Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on in, come on in, Alexander's Ragtime Band. What a song that was! Yeah, that was like walking through. That was like Elvis Presley or the Beatles. You know, was that? That was the moment when that song and everything changed after that. What do we have? That gets us into the 1920s. One of my favorite guys from that 1920 songbook, of the Great American Songbook. Let's just see. No, I can't think of his name, but he did. This is the kind of stuff he did. Pack up all my cares and woe, here I go, singing low. Bye, bye, blackbird, where somebody waits for me, sugar sweet and so is she. Bye, bye, blackbird, no one here can love and understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they all have. Make my bed and light the light. I've been in bed tonight. Blackbird, bye-bye. The guy's name was Harry Woods. Last name was Woods, and he wrote this. Packed up all my cares and woes. Here I go, singing low. Bye, bye, blackbird, where somebody waits for me. Sugar sweet and so is she. Bye, bye, blackbird, no one here can love and understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they all have. You make my bed and light the light. I'll arrive late tonight. Blackbird, bye-bye. So bye-bye, blackbird. And also Red Robin, the same guy. Where the red robin come bobbing along. Baby, no more sobbing when he starts throbbing his own sweet song. Wake up, you sleepyhead, get up. Get out of bed, cheer up. The sun is red, live, love, I'd rather be happy. What if I'm the blue? Now I'm running through field flowers. Rain may glisten, still I'll be listening for hours. And I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again, singing my song. When the red robin go bob, bob, bob. When the red robin go bob, bob, bob. And the red robin come bob, bob, bobbing along. Mr. Harry Woods. What stuff he wrote in the 20s. One song that I missed from in the teens, but I've got to do it because it's the month of October. And of course, October is off. The September moon, I guess, is officially the harvest moon. But it has to come at a certain time in September. If it's too early, they'll call it the corn moon. But according to the Farmer's Almanac. But the October moon, a lot of people, we still think that's a harvest moon as well. And I guess technically it's the hunter's moon, but we're going to get by in this big waxing moon in the sky. And this, one of the most poetic songs you could ask for. The night was mighty dark and you could hardly see, and the moon refused to shine. A couple sitting underneath the willow tree for love they pined. Then the little maiden, she got afraid of the dark, so she says, I think I'll go. The boy began to sigh, he looked up in the sky. told the moon his little tale. Whoa, what did he say? Shine on, harvest moon, way up in the sky. I ain't had no love since January, February. Snow time, ain't no time to stay. I know it's moon, so shine on, harvest moon, for me and my gal. I can't see why a boy would sigh when by his side is a girl he loves so true. Oh, you gotta ask her, will you be my bride? You know that I love you. So why should I be asking you my secrets when I think that you can guess? The harvest moon will smile, he'll shine on all the while, if the little girl will answer yes. Shine on, harvest moon, way up in the sky. I ain't had no loving since January, February, June, or July. Snow time, ain't no time to stay outdoors and spoon. You better shine on, harvest moon, for me and my gal, for me and my gal, for me and my gal. What a song! Shine on, harvest moon. You'll be, yes, we'll be howling at the moon in a few short nights when it reaches its full. Yes. Oh, the 1920s. Oh, those 1920s when guys like Al Jolson and Eddie Cantor reign. Well, Ma, she's making eyes at me. Ma, she's awful nice to me. Ma, she's almost breaking my heart. I'm beside her. Mercy, let her conscience guide her. Ma, she wanna marry me. Be my honeybee. Every minute she gets bolder, now she's leaning on my shoulder. Ma, she's kissing me. Ma, she's holding hands with me. Ma, how now she stands with me. Ma, she's pinching both of my cheeks. Song she's wooing, I'm forgetting what I'm doing. Ma, she's pretty as can be. Wanna be my honeybee. By my meeting with resistance, I will holler for assistance. Ma, she's kissing me. Tut-tut-tut-see goodbye. All the dancing girls have arrived. That choo-choo train that takes me away from you. You'll never know how sad it makes me. Kiss me, kitty, and do it over again. Watch for the mail, I'll never fail. If you don't get a letter, then you know I'm in jail. Tut-tut-tut-see goodbye. Tut-tut-tut-see don't cry. Margie, I'm always thinking about you, Margie. I told my wife about you. Don't forget that promise you made. I have bought a homing ring and everything for Margie. You've been my inspiration, days are never blue. After all is said and done, there is really only one. Margie, it's you. California, here I come, right back where I started, where flowers of flowers bloom in the spring. Each morning, at dawn and birdies sing, and everything the sun kissed me, said don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up them golden gates, California, 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 here I come. lovely twine around you about 9:15. Well, you know that I won't be late at 8:30. You're gonna see me waiting there. I'm waiting for you on needles and pins, waiting for you at the band will begin, and then the world is gonna be mine. This evening, about 9:15, and you know that I won't be late at 8:30. You're gonna see me waiting there, waiting for her with needles and pins, waiting for her on needles and pins, and then the world is gonna be mine. This evening, about 9:15. Oh, darling, how I'm gonna see you. About 9:15. How I'm gonna love you, baby. About 9:15. Oh man, that was a good hit. We had the dancers. When we've got the dancing girls, everything gets really moved along. Well, here I am in the, what was that? That last song came from 1934. Boy, oh boy. So let me see what we've got to do. We got to get into, got to get at least to, let me see how far I got to go with the Great American Songbook. I'm going to do a song from the World War II era that Les Brown and his band of renown and Doris Day did. Gonna take a sentimental journey, gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna take a sentimental journey to renew old memories. Got my bag, I got my reservation, spend each time I could afford. Like a child in wild anticipation, long to hear that all aboard. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of the railroad track that takes me back. Never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey, sentimental journey home. I said 7, that's the time we're leaving. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of this railroad track that takes me back. Never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey, sentimental journey home. Oh, the 1940s there, getting into 1950, how things changed. The year was 1952. It's all the way in the, it's almost, no, it's not quite November, but the song of the year is going to be I Give to You as You Give to Me. True love, true love, and on it will always be. True love, and you and I have a guardian angel on high with nothing to do but to give to you as you give to me. Love forever true. So this song is destined to be the song of the year in the year 1952. And then it was either November or December, another song comes out by Doris Day and takes the first place. The #1 song bumps True Love, and it goes like this. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what would I be? Doris takes it. Will I be free? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Yes, said I, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. will be. Grew up, I fell in love. I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will there be rainbows day after day? Here's what my sweetheart said. Hey, said I, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours, you see. Hey, said I, what will be, will be. I've got children of my own, and as their father, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I answer tenderly. Que sera, sera. Whatever it will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera. 1952 Song of the Year, and then Elvis comes out in what, 56 and 57, and Elvis was on the Ed Sullivan Show. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, yeah, crying all the time. You ain't never go to rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. They all said you was high class, but that was just a lie. They all said you was high class, but that was just a lie. You ain't never gone to rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. Put a chain around my neck and leave me anywhere. Oh, let me be your teddy bear. Oh, baby, let me be around you every night. Put a chain around my neck, cuddle me real tight. Oh, let me be your teddy bear. I wanna be a tiger's playing her up. I don't wanna be a lion, 'cause lions ain't the kind you love enough. You wanna let me be your teddy bear. Put a chain around my neck and leave me anywhere. Oh, let me be your teddy bear. Oh, let me be your teddy bear. Oh, let me be your teddy bear. Well, I just wanna be your teddy bear. I was singing that song since 1956. At Sacred Heart School, I sang that when I was in first grade. I sang that song, yep. Yeah, that was my first grade song. So let's see what else we have. So let's see, so what happens then? You've got Elvis that explodes on the scene, changes everything. Everything is different. And I'm trying to think of another, well, the man that had for 11 consecutive years a top 10 hit from 1949 to 1960. This man, I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill, on Blueberry Hill, where I found you. Stood still on Blueberry Hill, and I lingered until my dreams came true. The wind and the willows play love's sweet melody, but all of those vows you made would never do be. Oh, we're apart, your part be still, for you was a February, what was it, the 9th, the 7th, February? I know it was February. 64. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. But the Beatles invaded Ed Sullivan. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day. And I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm kissing the lips I am missing. I hope that my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day. And I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day. And I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. All my loving, all my loving, all my loving I will send to you. Oh, nothing like the Beatles, the early Beatles in 64. And then I've got one of the Beatles songs that really changed everything. Well, it was 20 years ago today. Sergeant Pepper thought the band would play. Baby going in and out of style. Baby grabbing in and raise a smile. So let me introduce to you the acting on for all these years. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. We're Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Sergeant Pepper's one and only Lonely Hearts Club Band. Sit back and let the evening go. We're Sergeant Pepper's Lonely, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's wonderful to be here, it's certainly a thrill. You're such a lovely audience, we'd love to take you home. Where we want to take you home. I don't really want to stop the show, but I would like to know that the singer's gonna sing a song, and he wants you all to sing along. So let me introduce to you one and only Billy Shears. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Songs from the Great American Songbook. So we covered 1770, well, something like 1770 up to 1968.
Wow.
That was quite a span. That was a big span of music. I want to thank Richter for bringing me up here today. I'll be at Dolce at 6:30. I've got to go play at Portofino right now for a little while. So I've got a busy day, but thank you so much. And Kai, thank you for bringing me here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And join the circus like you wanted to when you were a kid. Climb aboard before you grew up. You thank the lucky stars you did. Go to sleep in Minneapolis. Wake up in PA. Grab your trunk, your hat, and your comb again. Ready to roam again, ready to stray. Contemplate, never look home again. When the circus comes your way. pill the doctor gave you turns you cold to the grip. When the stitch to save 5 others comes apart at the rip. When the rats are in the attic and they're sinking the ship. Follow my tip, come away on a trip. Join the circus like you wanted to. When you were so high, pitch your troubles onto a tent. You're bound to lose them bye-bye. Say farewell to sweet Schenectady. Hello, Santa Fe. Get your comb, your trunk, and your comb again. Ready to roam again. I'm ready to stray. Kiss the cat, never look back again. When the circus comes your way. Thank you, Mr. P.T. Barnum, Bethel's favorite son. See you next time with an open mic. Bring your songs. Kai will make sure that everybody that's going to sign up will be there. And Eric will be here too. Yes, the Silvertones as well. They're going to be here. What will be, will be. I've got children of my own. And as their father, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I answer tenderly. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not us to see. Que sera, sera. What will be?